right. It's the wee hours of Friday morning, and it's time to show up. I'm showing up. Glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. And do the little YouTube dance. Like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. I am having a fairly difficult time because ever since the flood situation a couple of weeks ago, I just honestly don't want to work on my game. I don't know precisely why, but there's no arguing with don't wanna. If you don't wanna, you don't wanna. That's just the way it is. So I've been trying to focus more on art because there's a lot of stuff that I want to do. You know, there's a lot of stuff I want to do with my art. There's a lot of stuff I want to do with my music, and I'm not doing any of it. And the reason that I'm not doing any of it is because, yeah, I'm fucking around doing other stuff. I'm working on my game, and I'm working on cleaning up floodwater and various things along those lines. Now, I've got a bit of a cough. I've had a bit of a cough for like a year now because long COVID is a bitch, and it's acting up today. So there may be some coughing on the video, but if you don't want to do something, you can't do it. You know, there's no arguing with that. You can't go logically, rationally. Doing the thing is, a good idea. But I don't want to. You can't argue with that. It's not a thing you could argue with. I don't want to is just I don't want to. You just have to live with that. And I'm lucky enough to be in a situation where I don't want to is a good enough reason. I don't have to I am not obligated to make this game happen so I can make money. I mean, I can limp along and struggle through on the tiny income that I've got without finishing the game or without indeed doing much of anything. Although I do really want to replace the income I used to make off of the t-shirts I sold on Amazon, which Amazon suddenly decided to delist, and I don't know why. I don't have an answer from them on it, but I've got to go back in and redo that and resubmit designs and try and get those back out there. And products have history on Amazon, and that's very frustrating. It's one of those things where it's like, I had this shirt for sale on Amazon, and it's available on Amazon for sale, and you could still go buy it, but if it gets delisted and I list the same design again, it's the same shirt. You'll still get the same thing if you order one, but because it doesn't have the history, it's not going to come up in searches or in recommendations as much as it would otherwise, because it doesn't have the order history and the purchase history and the review history. So that's very frustrating. And anyway, I've been kind of playing around with this idea. Hey, you want to see something stupid? The other day, I was very carefully tracing lines onto a photograph of Huang Le from Starfield. I was very painstakingly tracing lines onto this and going, well, I need to... that lines up there, and that lines up there, and you need to line up this, and you identify like all of these little areas because I forgot that you could just drag guides down. I forgot that. I forgot you could do that. Sometimes I just wonder if my brain works at all. And given the kind of dumb crap that I do fairly frequently. But yeah, that was a moment That was a definite moment. I mean, look at this. I've been thinking a lot about art lately, and there are some things that just kind of like came out and smacked me in the face, and I'm trying to sort of process everything, and it's one of those things where we got to the end of the year, and I'm seeing all of the artists that I follow, because I follow a lot of artists on social media, and I'm seeing all of the artists I follow go, here are all of the pieces that I did in 2025. I don't have any. I didn't do any pieces in 2025. Like, pretty much the entire year, I did not complete anything. I got a bunch of uncompleted stuff, but I didn't finish anything for an entire year. That's not good. I should be doing something. I should be finishing something. And then you add that on top of I'm switching gears all the time between this thing and that thing. And it's kind of a matter of focus, you know? I need to focus on something, and I need to get it done, and I need to get some stuff out there. And it's not because I want to make money. It's not because I want lots of likes and lots of followers and lots of attention. It's just because I should be doing things. I should be getting things done. And I'm not. I'm not finished. I'm finishing like bits and pieces. Like there are little elements of stuff that I got done. But I didn't actually get any completed work done. And I'm not sure what to do about that. But one of the things that I've been thinking is, you remember earlier this week, I specifically brought up some ideas about Huangle that are they're based around the idea of following a narrative that isn't in the game. And I was thinking, what if I converted Huangle from a photographic character to an anime character, and then used that to do some sort of dojin. I would have to mess around with this and try to convert the character over to something. I need the character to be recognizable. I need it to be something you can look at and go, oh, that's Huangle from Starfield. But I'm not good at producing a likeness. Got fairly low cheekbone. But I was thinking if I could convert her into a sort of anime style character, then I could do like a storyline where I was thinking that we could start out kind of pretending it's about the Starborn. So Isn't that terrible? Let's turn off the guides. There's some work to be done, definitely. But I was thinking we could start out, we could kind of pretend that the story is going to be about the Starborn, and then just kind of sort of, after some storyline with the Starborn, then we add Huang Le into the picture, and then eventually the Starborn drops out, and it's just her. And that's all there is. So it starts out, it's just the Starborn, then Huang Le pops up, and then the Starborn drops out. And then it's just her. And then it becomes like Huang Le is the Mantis, is the focus of the rest of the story. I think that'd be kind of cool. And it's also cool to think about, writing a manga and building an entire storyline around that whole thing. I've never done that before. I've done a few pages of comics in the past, and I've tried to partner with artists in the past to write comics. And I would write a script for a comic, and I would go, okay, so like, here's the way things would go. And I would say, this panel's this thing, and that panel's that thing. And then the artist would go, I don't know how to draw that. Like, I don't know what I would put in the frame for that thing in the story to be happening. And I would go, well, okay. And I would storyboard it and do these kind of rough sketches and little thumbnails. And then they would go, well, I don't know how to draw that. Well, that's not my job. You're the fucking artist. I mean, it's like if I say, they drove down the street in their Lamborghini, you're the one who has to learn how to draw a Lamborghini driving down the street. It's you're going to have to draw stuff like that. That is part of the process. And, if you're going to be the artist on this thing, then you have to be the artist. And if I'm going to be the writer, that's one thing. If I'm going to be the writer and I'm going to do the storyboard, and then you're going to sit there and go, well, I also need you to teach me how to do the art. What are you doing on this project? Like, seriously, what is your contribution? And it ends up being they don't have a contribution, and I do like half the work, and I'm not a good artist, so I can't like put the rest of it together. But and then you have the people that's like, let's do this project. Okay, here's the script, and I want this done in kind of a Western comic style. You can do some manga influence, but yeah, mostly I want it to be kind of a Western comic sort of style, sort of like semi-photo. And then he turns around and says, I made a decision to do it in more of a Mort Drucker Mad Magazine style. No, that's not the that's not the aesthetic I want for this comic. It's not. It doesn't match the tonal themes of the. It's too dark for Mort Drucker, for God's sake. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, I've always had trouble with artists because artists sit there and go, I'm the one who does the art and you're not, so I can do whatever I want. No. I'm the one who's making this into a thing that makes money, so I can do whatever I want. If you don't do what I want, there's no money. A friend of mine once observed we were having a conversation about the kind of work I was doing. I was in a marketing and sales and business kind of forum, and we were talking about what I was working on and what I was trying to build, and a bunch of people were going, well, why are you building this thing and not building this other thing that would probably make you more money? Well, number one, because I don't want to, and number two, because I think this is more interesting, and I think it's really more needed. And what I was trying to build was I was trying to build accessible products that were accurate and reliable, and you could sell them for a fairly low price, like less than $50. And a bunch of people were like, but why aren't you working on a $5,000 box set? You could do a $5,000 boxed set. Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to build a $5,000 boxed set. And finally, my friend Colin stepped in. He said, guys, I figured it out. I figured out what the deal is here. Caliban doesn't care about money. It doesn't matter to him. Like you could tell him all day long that he'd make more money doing XYZ, and he doesn't care. That's not part of his decision-making process. If he wanted to make money, there are a half dozen other things that he could do. This isn't the easiest way he can make money. He's a software developer. He's a project manager. It's like he's got, six-figure income potential just going out and getting a job. Why does he want to do $20 and $50 products for people that are just starting out? It's not for the money. It's because that shit's important to him. It's because of his values. And everybody was confused as fuck. What do you mean he doesn't care about money? How does anybody not care about money? I've lived through periods where I had next to no money. I'm through one right now. But once you've been in a situation where you have no money, you learn that it's not that bad, it's not that awful, and you can get through that stuff. So the idea of you're not going to make a lot of money, that's not a big deal. Doesn't bother me. I really want to get Otaka Koto's work is really excellent. She does. No. Recent. There's the she's got this way of doing eyes. I really like that. I kind of want to convert Huang Le into this kind of style. Let's see. Which space midriff original. That's it. So I want to take this. I'm going to duplicate the layer and take this layer, and I'm going to layer mask. Apply mask to okay, that leaves that, and now we will select all of that. What's the command to select? Control click on the thumbnail, right? Okay. Now we Control C, and now let's come over to our Huang Le. Paste into the reference, and I've got the reference set to just the brightness, so that converts it to grayscale effectively. So let's take this and let's see if we can't something approximate. Yeah, apply that transformation. And let's see if we can't these eyes mapped onto Huang Le somehow. Too wide. Down. I may have to do some messing around to look right. Let's get them a little bit more. A little bit more opaque. Turn off the flat color and let's see. What I want to do is we want to get pupils lined up, pupils and irises. She's looking directly at the camera, whereas we have a 3/4 view here. So that's going to be different. But, and we've also got an angle difference on this. So let's drop this down a little bit more. And let's see what we get in terms of, I think we want to match just the left eye. Something like inner corner right there. I think we want to add in a bit. Maybe about there. I think that might be about right. A little bit smaller. Up here, let's give it a slight canthal tilt there. Or like so. I think we got. I think we got something workable there. Face is much smaller because the eyes are greatly exaggerated in any kind of image like this. I think we still need to tilt. I think maybe like that. Let's try that. Let's see how that looks. All right. On our face. Let's duplicate. Let's duplicate this eye. We'll up a bit, and we'll go. Well, I'm still running on. I'm still running on erase mode. That's the problem. There's an eyelash rather. There's an eyelash in here. Center. And if we do the same basic thing over here, if we duplicate that same basic shape, now what are we looking at? Let's pick that up some. And if we pull that off of there, if we kind of that out. Cat eye sort of thing. Oh yeah, this is why I don't like guides. Because the insistent snapping. And get her kind of yassified here. Kind of get that look, I guess. Now, it doesn't look like her anymore. There's also the thing that there's also the thing Kokoda does for the nose. It's kind of like this. She kind of does that. It's also really good at getting the whole 3/4 thing going on suggesting the bridge of the nose without actually drawing it. I want to do a kind of a hybrid style here, but I'm not sure just how. I mean, Huangla has sort of this angular face shape. Okay, and she has kind of this wide cheekbone thing going here. Just kind of. There's this kind of angular thing going on there. Got this planes of the face on this are fairly stark. And we've got at the bridge of the nose. Huangla's nose is fairly broad compared to her eyes. It's like an eye and a half. The way her face is constructed, you've got an eye on the side and an eye for the eye, and then in between the two eyes, you've got like an eye and a half for the bridge of the nose. It's broader, and I think that's important to the likeness because it's all about proportions. But I'm not 100% certain how to get that to actually read as Huangla in the underbelly of Neon. And I think really the only way to make that happen is to place her in context and go, this is how I draw Huangla. And like if I go into my photos folder and I jump down here and I go, okay, yeah, here's a picture of Huang Le, and we zoom in on that, and it's, if you put somebody in that outfit, I think she's recognizable as Huang Le just because she's got, you know, the just because she's got the stripe across here, this little sort of logo thing going on, the plastic piece of shit over top of the yellow hoodie. And I think that if I put these clothes on like anybody, people will go, "Oh, I recognize that outfit. That's Huang Le." Especially if she starts out like parroting similar dialogue. I think that'll go a long way in communicating. Yeah, this is Huang Le from the underbelly of Starfield. That's from the underbelly of Neon in Starfield. I think that actually ends up being fairly readable that way. Trying to get used to the zoom on this. So that I'm trying to get used to the button on the tour box underneath the scroll wheel. I'm trying to get used to using the scroll wheel without pressing it. I think that's just a matter of getting used to it. Learning to have a lighter touch. So I'm kind of working on that. And I don't know. I think if I put her in these clothes, I think it'll be fairly obvious that that we're talking about Huang Le and Starfield, and that this is what we're working on. I'm gonna have to start trying to draw. God, various people in Starfield outfits, because it's gonna. I don't know how far I'm going to get on this project, honestly, because I tend to get substantially into a project and then get demoralized and despondent and disillusioned and just like not finish it. That's pretty much par for the course with me. And I know a lot of other people are struggling with that same sort of thing. So yeah, that's an issue that I have, and that's an issue that I know a lot of other people have. So you know, hey, maybe seeing me struggle with this makes you go, oh, hey, it's okay that I struggle with this too. But I certainly hope you do better at handling it than I do. But that's where I am right now. I'm kind of in an art place and not a game dev place. So I want to focus on doing some art because when you do lots of stuff, you feel bad for not doing the thing you're working on, even when you're working on another thing. You'd be working on one thing and you could be making good progress, and you feel bad that you're not making any progress on the other thing that you're supposed to be working on. Like I've got this collection of $20 and $50 projects that are supposed to help small business owners and new entrepreneurs, and they all need to be updated because the internet's different and social media is different, and it's like Twitter is not even a thing anymore. Some of these things just like they don't work at all. So the old products are just no longer usable. So I should be updating those and putting those out and rebuilding something of a reasonable income. But I'm not. I'm not doing that. I don't know why I'm not doing that. I'm just not interested. Just kind of feel like I feel like there's so much pressure in that space to take clients. I don't want clients, I want customers. I want to make a thing and go, this is the thing that I made. If you want it, buy it. And then people buy it and you go, I like the thing, or I don't like the thing. And I'm like, cool, thanks for your opinion. And then I want them to fuck off and never bother me again. Unless they come back with money and go, what else did you make? And I can go, I made this. And they can give me money and go, there you go. Here's money, I'll take the thing. All right, I like this thing. Good for you. Now fuck off. I don't want to engage personally with every single person that enjoys my work. I want to do my thing and be left alone to do my thing. And just when I put the thing out there, I go, here it is, and that's the thing. And nobody comes along and says, well, could you change it to... No, I can't. Well, could you give me a discount? No, there's no discount. No. Hey, we're friends. Can I have a copy for free? No, it's on Steam. Go buy it on Steam. It's on Amazon. You want a discount? Ask Amazon. I don't know. I've ordered Scott Robertson's 2 books on how to draw and how to render because I've heard so many good things about them. And I'm getting a new chair because this thing's a piece of garbage. It's like, I mean, look at it. It doesn't even sit properly. It doesn't sit right. It won't sit straight up. Like, I've got to work to get it to sit straight up. And I think it's because the chair says supports 350 pounds. I'm like, maybe once. I'm only 240 and the thing's broken all to hell, so I don't know. But I'm replacing my chair. That should happen in the next few days. And I'm getting those 2 books, and those should be getting here in the next couple of days. I think they're coming on Sunday. I think the chair is actually supposed to come today. That'd be nice. But yeah, I got a chair for big, heavy people. Supports 500 pounds. I'm only 240, but I don't know. I think maybe that's what I need. Anyway, we're like 30 odd minutes into this, and I don't know why anybody's watching if they are. So, hey, I'm glad you're here. If you are, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And okay, bye.